Let's go. Yeah.
For this play, this is where we wanted it.
Back, looks, throws, ends up. Yes! Caught! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! They did it! Let's go! Oh, my goodness!
This is Inside the Pride, presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, and airing right here on the Lions TV network. I'm your host, Dannie Rogers. The Detroit Lions bounced back in Week 8 with an offensive unit that proved it can be efficient and explosive after finding the end zone for 27 first-half points. However, the Miami defense adjusted en route to a 31-27 Dolphins win. Coming up, you'll hear from head coach Dan Campbell as his team looks ahead to a matchup with the Green Bay Packers. We'll also feature our weekly player interview. But first, let's head out to Ford Field one last time for the sights and sounds from Week 8.
Ford Field in downtown Detroit, Week 8 in the National Football League, and the Lions, they need to find a way to win a game. Their opportunity today will be against the Miami Dolphins.
Hey, great day for a W, boys. Great day for a W. Division that believe. Let's go win. Win on the one Detroit.
How we feel? Hey, y'all hungry? Everything we do in practice, put it on the field, we coming out with a dub. Get hungry. Let's go get this motherfucker. Let's go get it. Lions on 3.
It's Alumni Day here in Detroit.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's always good to see all your guys back here and Lions from throughout the years.
You got the little fella walking out on the field today in this gold
How
jacket.
about that?
Yes.
Honorary Captain Barry Sanders. That's the roar you hear behind us. Miami defers. Lions will get the football first.
Offense, it's time to step up. It's time to set the tone. Go throw the first punch in this game.
Out of the huddle and to the line. Here come the Lions on first down. Jamal Williams gets the start at running back. He's to the left of Goff, who's in the gun. Goff takes, turns, gives, nope, gonna throw the ball, flares it out right side to Jamal. Jamal eludes the first man, gets across the 30, close to a first down at the 35-yard line, and he'll have it with a 10-yard gain.
Second down and 8. Play action. Goff. Deep down over the middle of the field, and it's caught at the 21-yard line. Khalif Raymond, a 27-yard pickup. Back to the air and out of the backfield. He's got a man. That is James Mitchell with his first NFL catch.
Goff turns, gives to Jamal, follows his blockers inside the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. There it is. It had been a while, but they finally found that end zone.
Tua in trouble, and down he goes. That is Malcolm Rodriguez with his first NFL sack.
Tua takes, fakes the give, throws, got a man caught inside the 30, ball's loose. Lions pick it up, they've got it. Ball came loose, and it was picked up for the Lions by Malcolm Rodriguez. 3rd and 5 from the Miami 7. Goff's got it, back, looks, throws, caught. DeAndre Swift, end zone touchdown.
Low snap, Goff, quick pass, there's St. Brown. He's got the first down and more. St. Brown out of bounds in Miami territory. Looking for more here. He's got a man deep. It's Raymond, and he's got it at the 5. Gets up and spun down. Another big play for the Lions.
Goff takes the direct snap, gives to Jamal, into the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions, his second of the day. Tua's got it, sets in the pocket, stepping up, gonna get hit, gonna go down. Sack back at the 35-yard line. Juju Hughes got him.
Newly signed kicker Michael Badgley was perfect in Sunday's matchup against the Dolphins, knocking in 2 field goals, including one from 42 yards out and 2 extra points. We'll hear from the kicker on his journey to Detroit and his nickname, Money Badger, coming up next. Inside the Pride is presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and sponsored by Priority Health, Kroger, and and by Henry Ford Health.
Homecoming weekend here in Detroit, Lions legends returned to the city to celebrate their teammates. On Saturday morning, legends and alumni teamed up for a community service project with FARM, Family Assistance for Renaissance Men, a 2022 Inspired Change partner as selected by the players. It was a busy morning as they assisted with renovating a house.
I'm being a part of this because mostly my teammates are here. I'm representing the Detroit Lions. And this is just a wonderful opportunity for me to give back.
The day was capped off at MGM Grand Detroit, where guests enjoyed dinner and conversation as they celebrated the legends' return to Detroit.
We've all had a major effect on each other's lives, so sometimes it's good to give back and show your appreciation to your former teammates.
Barry, on behalf of the Ford family and the Detroit Lions organization, it is my pleasure to announce that we will unveil an 8-foot bronze statue of you here at Ford Field ahead of the 2023 season.
Thank you so much to the Detroit Lions and the entire Ford family. I'm truly honored and humbled by this. And I gotta say, I'm truly blessed to play here in front of these amazing fans and in this great city. I'm so humbled and honored by this. Thanks a lot.
This is going to be a 53-yard attempt, hash mark right side. Badgley's ready. It is up, and it is good. He got it.
Michael Badgley became Money Badger when?
Back when I was with the Chargers. That was 2018, after my rookie year, I guess, kind of, and then 2019, I guess it kind of became more of a thing.
How much did you embrace it?
I mean, it was more so the fans. The fans created it. I think it was a play off of the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. And I think the nickname Badge or last name Badgley, and then they just kind of made their own spin on it. And if you're making kicks, I guess people just come up with nicknames for you.
I was going to say, you kind of missed the point where you were making a lot of kicks, extra points, field goals. You were doing great with the Chargers. Since the Chargers, you've been able to bop around a little bit to different teams here in your 5th season. What have you learned the most about yourself having to navigate the NFL with a few different teams?
Just becoming a locker room guy, I think, is the biggest thing. When you're jumping around teams and you might not know a lot of guys on the team, just trying to find your way to fit in. But it's more so if you do your job well, the guys kind of learn your name that way, and then it makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. You've been perfect so far for the Detroit Lions and for the season. You spent a little bit of time a weekend with Chicago kicking for them. What would it take for you to be the long-standing place kicker here for the Detroit Lions?
Just going week by week, even practice by practice, with this coaching staff and working with Scott and Jack, they make it super easy. So as long as I just kind of do my part each week, it kind of just takes care of itself.
Any added pressure when your placeholder, Jack Fox, is now the highest paid punter in the NFL?
I think you'd have to ask him. That's a question for him. No, he does such a great job, and then him and Scott work that so much, and they make it easy. Especially just coming in here on short notice and just seeing those guys work. There wasn't much to it.
Your longest career field goal is 59 yards. You've also hit walk-off winning field goals. What's going through your mind as you're kind of mapping out the situation in a game? You're wondering if you're going to go in there and kick or not, and then throughout the process of seeing the ball go up through the air and hopefully towards the uprights.
It's one of those things where you get in the fourth quarter and you're definitely at the end of a game, it's going to be close or not. You're watching the clock, see how many timeouts you got, what the certain situation is going to be, seeing, all right, we're going to set up for a field goal here. And, I guess a lot of teams or certain kickers like to, they like a certain hash, middle of the field, whatnot. I've always had the idea, don't lose yards. It's one of those situations that you do a million times, but sure, there's added pressure to it because it's, either going to tie the game or you're going to walk it off. So.
Being in the Detroit Lions special teams rooms with Coach Phipp, and then you have Jack Fox, who, ever so often will, sling a ball downfield for this team. Is there a lot more scheming in that room than you might have been used to in the past with other teams?
Sure, and when you got a head coach like Coach Campbell, he likes to have fun with it too. Get an extra possession, and he's not scared to go out there and make a play. But everything has to work in perfect harmony, and Phipp knows that all these guys can go out there and get that done, and that's why, they kind of feel comfortable if they got to mix it up a little bit.
Perfect harmony sounds like some complimentary football. So what is it going to take for these Lions to get back to that and get some more wins on the scoreboard?
you don't want to change up who you are. We got great players, we got a great locker room, we got a great coaching staff, and it's one of those things where a couple plays here, a couple plays there, that could just change the game. And kind of like you said, once everything just works in perfect harmony, or if someone's got to cover someone else, or the defense is not playing well, or the offense isn't doing well, or the special teams, one of the other teams shows up and just makes a play and they take over for those guys. But if everyone's working in perfect harmony, it's hard to beat this team.
Welcome back to Inside the Pride. I'm joined by the head coach, Dan Campbell. And Coach, this week you've made changes along the coaching front, releasing DB's coach Aubrey Pleasant, and then along the player front, trading tight end TJ Hawkinson. What do those changes say about the mindset of this team right now?
Look, it's hard anytime you have to go through moves like that. I got a tremendous amount of respect for both of those people, and I think they're both very good at what they do. But listen, when you're where we're at, you got to shake things up, and every move that I made, I believe, is for the betterment of our team, or we wouldn't have done them. That's the bottom line. So, hey, we accept it and we make the most of what we have here, which is plenty, and we move on.
Mm-hmm. Looking ahead to Green Bay this Sunday, linebacker Alex Anzalone, despite the Green Bay Packers' 4-game losing skid right now, refuses to count this team out, and it's because of quarterback Aaron Rodgers. What is Rodgers still doing in year 18 that makes him so lethal? Yeah,
listen, I can show you this right here. First of all, he's seen every look that you could possibly throw at him, right? So, and on top of that, he's extremely talented. He's very good in the pocket. And then, man, if he's able to just move, this is a little sprint out, but now he's just buying time. And this route here turns in from a double move to a triple move because he sees that he's scrambling, which they do a good job of. And these are the little things where he's on it. He can signal into any play that he wants, and it's so subtle you don't even realize it's coming. So, yeah, that's fool's gold to buy into now, with that guy behind the center, they've always got a chance.
Mm-hmm. Packers have a young receiving core, we know that. But in their veteran running back, Aaron Jones, he's been here for 6 years. He's been doing it. 143 yards Sunday against the top 5 rush defense in the Bills. What is he doing, and how does he do it to put up that many yards?
They do a good job by design setting this offense up. And when they really run it through him and then just let Rogers play off of that, this is when they can really hurt you. They have multiple schemes up front, but I think this guy's got really good vision for a back, and he's got explosiveness. He's got a lot more strength than people realize. He's not a huge guy, but man, he plays strong and can break tackles.
Linebacker Rashawn Gary, he has had 6 sacks so far this season, but head coach Matt LaFleur says he wants that defense to play more physical. It sounds like Gary has already been playing physical this season. How does he disrupt up front? Yeah,
he's, I'll show you this right here. This is a good look from behind. Look, he does a pretty good job setting the edge in the run, but then when you get him in the third down and let it in this 2-point where he gets this get off, and he can threaten these tackles with speed. And then he's got this stature and the ability to bend under, man. He can turn the corner in a hurry, and then this is the end product here. So he's a mess, and he's got multiple moves now. He doesn't just have speed off the edge. He can spin, he can run a bull. So he creates issues for us, for any O-line.
Your team got a win over the Packers late last season that propelled them into the offseason. What would playing some complimentary football and getting a win over the Packers here Sunday do for your team?
It'd be huge. Look, that's what all this is about. This is what we've been. You're always working to the next win, and winning solves a lot of things in this league. At some point we gotta draw a line in the sand and say enough's enough, and it starts with us coaches, and then it's gotta bleed out into the players. They got to take accountability and say, you know what. These are our standards, and this is what we accept, this is what we don't accept. And so you just said it. Man, we got to put the offense together with the defense playing well, with special teams. And if we do that, we absolutely have a chance and should have a chance to win this game.
Inside the Pride, presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, is taking a break. The Detroit Lions are back inside Ford Field for a Week 9 matchup against NFC North rival, the Green Bay Packers. Tickets for all 2022 Lions home games are on sale at DetroitLions.com/tickets. Reserve your seats now.
Well, the Detroit Lions were fairly successful after the '57 season, and Joe was done as a player in 1965, and I don't know if they really had him as a future head coach in mind, but they asked him to stay another year as an assistant coach, and he did. Harry Gilmer gets fired after the '66 season, and There's, as I recall, a fairly lengthy negotiation, and he finally said okay. And he became the head coach, and it took a while, but he turned that team around, he really did.
I agreed to it, and I got some excellent coaches, and Chuck Knox and Jim David. They, were experienced, and they knew everything about football and so forth, so we developed, a pretty good football team there for a while.
1970, the Detroit Lions are now in a renaissance. Joe Schmidt showed the skill and patience producing a winner for the Motor City.
The 70 season, the Detroit Lions were 10-4, and really there are a lot of people who thought they were the best team in football, and they won their last 5 games, and they beat 5 straight playoff teams. If you go back and just look at the stats and look at those last 5 games, they were the best team for those 5 games, and when do you want to be good? You want to be good when you're going into the playoffs.
There's head coach Joe Schmidt in the middle. Now this is a team that is all together, as they like to put it.
They were still a playoff contender the next year in 71, and then kind of a little more of a decline in 72, and after that, Joe got out of coaching. This is just my own opinion, and I'll hold to it. I think Barry Sanders was the greatest player in franchise history, but I think Joe is the greatest Lion because he also added coaching to it.
If you could name one, toughest person to tackle.
Nobody. I had no ambition to be a coach. I liked to have been an owner.
Joe Schmidt, when you met him and spent some time with him, he was everything that you thought he would be and more. Just the way he carried himself, just the way he talked to people, smart. Everything he did was just a cut above everybody else.
To express myself today is difficult. Thought about this for quite some time. So I'd like to thank the Detroit Lions. I've been in Detroit for 20 years, and they've all been enjoyable.
Well, I had an opportunity to play football and come here to Detroit to be on a championship team. People have been awful good to me in this town, and everything in my life that I have to say that because I was a Lion, I have it.
I wish I'd covered him more. I really do as a player. Talk about a guy who helped invent a position in pro football. He also left behind, a legacy here in the city of Detroit. You did it on the field, you did it as a coach, you did it in the community, and you'll be remembered forever because of it.
I've traveled 20 years of pro football to many cities, and I'm very honored and humbled today to take my place in the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
Joe Schmidt's daughter Amy was in town this past weekend for homecoming and told a local reporter that football and playing in Detroit was the greatest time of her father's life. Schmidt is 91 years old. That wraps up this week's Lions Legends feature. Up next, Rogers Retweets. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Inside the Pride. We are wrapping things up here, but not before Rogers Retweets, where I retweet some of my favorite social media clips from this past weekend. And we have to go back to Sunday's game against the Dolphins. Running back Jamal Williams placed his name in record books next to some greats, including Billy Sims and the one and only Barry Sanders. And then he surpassed those greats with this 8th rushing touchdown of the season. Now the most in franchise history through the first 7 games of any season. Jamal is a workhorse, so consistent for this team. Congrats to him. And here is a throwback to one of those 2 touchdowns from this Sunday. It's center Frank Ragnow reeling Jamal in. Shout out Grizzly Man Outdoors. I would have loved to see them practice this throughout the week and what that might have looked like. And it is Halloween week, Halloween being a couple of days ago. However, this is Riggs the Wheaton. I guess that's a dog breed. I've never heard of them. But how cute is this guy in his Lions costume? Riggs actually has about 10,000 followers on Instagram, so almost more than I have. Shout out to Riggs for being so cute here on Rogers Retweets. If you want to be featured on the show, make sure you use that hashtag and I'll be sure to find you. That also wraps up this episode of Inside the Pride. Reminder, Detroit Lions kick off against the Green Bay Packers this Sunday inside Ford Field at 1 p.m. We'll see you there.